Alex, what's up, brother? All right? Strong boys, good blood, champion blood. You're doing great, brother. Keep going. Unlucky last time, you know. Back of head, I see it, but don't let it go. Let it go. Follow it. Yeah.
Can't wait. I see he got 2 belts. I guess he's fighting for belts come Saturday night, so I can't wait to take those pretty belts off his hands. You didn't lay a glove on me last time. You're not going to lay a glove on me this time. This is a different animal coming back. I've got a lot to prove here. And who am I proving it to? To myself. So you're up against it. I touched your face quite a lot last time. And even the if we talk about drops, I dropped your ass with a high kick.
Conor McGregor or Max Holloway?
Darn it. That's a tough one. Conor's got a tough test ahead of him. Max Holloway is one of the most complete mixed martial artists on the planet. You got to give the edge to Max in that one.
Max Holloway is more active right now.
Conor McGregor.
What means?
However he wants.
You're a Conor McGregor fan?
I like Conor McGregor, yes.
I didn't see exactly how he is in this conditioning now, but it will be a really great matchup. I'm going to say maybe Conor McGregor just for the story.
Max Holloway, maybe knockout.
Probably Max Holloway, just because he's been active the most. I'm sure this is going to be his last match with Conor. You know, I know he want to get that one win over him.
People are seeing in Conor yesterday in the media, and they'll continue to see as the week progresses, this level of sort of calm confidence is the result of what he's done the last 6 months. And I always have that joke saying that I could give the best Rocky speech to a fighter, not just Conor, you know, the night before a fight, but he has to go to bed and listen to himself. And you can't lie to yourself. And you'll start scratching away at your confidence saying, I didn't eat right all the time. And I missed those few sessions. And I can't tell you did them if you didn't. So true confidence is only born through hard work. And he really has done it the right way the last 6 months. And that's why you're going to see him and us all enjoying this week and being very, calm, like I said. And looking forward to Saturday night. And it will be spectacular and it will be great because I know how he's trained. I would say this last 6 months training and how he's approached it might be the hardest and most dedicated 6 months he's done since I've known him. I don't say that lightly.
Wow. Even Aldo, all
just that the way he has been the last 6 months has been different.
Okay.
It really has. And y'all can say what you like, but they'll see. I believe you will see the result of that work Saturday.
UFC 329, Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway, headlining this cracking card. Let's get into it. I'm going to have to go with Max Holloway. Obviously, he's been active. Conor McGregor hasn't been in there for a while. And, the last times we've seen him in there, obviously still looks dangerous, but he's just not the same fighter that we've always seen. Do I still think he can do well? I think so, but Max, I feel he's going to cook him a little bit and maybe get him in the second or third round. I feel like there might be a submission there. So there's a sneaky one for you. Submission win for Max Holloway.
Max, big mistake going back to 45 after he did 55.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just too hard on the body. Who's a thick 55 when he fought Justin? He looked good, man.
Yeah.
He looked solid at that weight. Him fighting at that weight, he could actually fight. Going down to 45, it looked to me like he was compromised. Like, I think the weight cut was just
it was too much.
Gotta get your predictions for the main event. Who do you got, McGregor versus Holloway?
I'm going for Holloway. I like Holloway a lot. I think he's such a good guy and just consistent and all the above.
So I think it's like 60% for Holloway wins by decision and 40% for McGregor wins by knockout in the first or the half of the second round.
Surprise, motherfuckers. Conor McGregor, yeah.
I got Conor on this one. I love Holloway, huge fan, but Conor, he looks hungry.
I would love to see McGregor take it.
I think Max takes it.
I think Holloway's been here, he's been fighting, so you kind of lean towards Holloway, but at the end of the day, it's Conor. So.
McGregor.
Come on, is it even? I don't know. I mean, McGregor, he's crazy, he's angry, he just got back. Hello, it's unstoppable.
I'll take McGregor.
Fight week. What are your expectations as we head into Thursday's press conference, the face-to-faces that you'll do this week with him, ceremonial weigh-in on Friday? What do you think he'll pull? What do you think he'll try to do to you?
I don't know. We see what happens. I'm excited because by everything that you're seeing, he looks like a changed man. He found God. He's talking about bringing his fights to his kids to the fights, to the very first fight. So I'm excited. I want to see, But if he's ready to tangle and see, the man got the gift of gab and he want to talk some shit, I welcome it, man. I'm from Waianae, Hawaii. Yeah, ask any of my teammates. Ask that guy right there. He gets it the most in the shit talking. So at the end of the day, it'd be fun.
If Conor is successful on Saturday night, is it the greatest comeback of all time?
100%. Every fighter that's ever taken big layoff, they don't look the same when they come back. And Max Holloway has been active fighting absolute killers the entire time that Conor's been gone. This is anything but an easy fight. It's a big fight for both of these guys' careers.
Las Vegas had been buzzing for weeks leading up to UFC 329, and when fight night finally arrived, the anticipation inside the T-Mobile Arena was unlike anything fans had witnessed in years. Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway, a rematch that the MMA world had been calling for since both men reached the peaks of their legendary careers, had finally come to fruition. Now that the dust has settled, the scorecards have been read, and the post-fight press conference is done, it is the perfect time to look back at what the experts were saying before the first punch was ever thrown, and measure just how sharp, or how far off, the predictions of the MMA world's sharpest minds really were. In the weeks building up to UFC 329, the analytical community was deeply divided. There was no clear consensus, which itself said a great deal about how genuinely competitive this matchup was considered to be on paper. Conor McGregor, returning to the octagon with what his camp described as the best shape and the sharpest mind of his entire career, was drawing attention from analysts who believed his power, and his left hand specifically, could be the deciding factor at any moment. Max Holloway, on the other hand, was riding the kind of form that made even McGregor supporters nervous. Blessed had become something beyond a nickname at this point. It felt more like a title of office. Daniel Cormier, one of the most respected voices in combat sports analysis, had gone on record in the lead-up to the fight stating that he believed Max Holloway would outwork McGregor over the course of 5 rounds. Cormier's reasoning was rooted in output and volume. He pointed to Holloway's remarkable record of sustained pressure over championship rounds and suggested that unless McGregor found his mark early, the fight would gradually shift in Holloway's favor as the minutes accumulated. Cormier noted that McGregor's activity between fights and his history of long layoffs created a genuine question mark around his cardio and rhythm under high-pressure conditions. Looking at how the fight unfolded, Cormier's read on volume and pressure proved to be largely on the money, at least in stretches. But what he may not have fully accounted for was the version of McGregor who showed up that night. Chael Sonnen, never shy about a bold take, made one of the more confident predictions of any analyst in the build-up. Sonnen insisted that McGregor would stop Holloway inside 3 rounds, arguing that Holloway, despite his brilliance, had historically been susceptible to bigger punchers and that McGregor's straight left would find a home against an opponent who tends to stand and trade rather than move laterally. Sonnen doubled down on this in multiple appearances, suggesting that people were sleeping on what a fully motivated and fully prepared McGregor was capable of doing. When you stack Sonnen's prediction against the reality of how the fight played out, it becomes an interesting conversation. The stoppage element of his call generated significant debate in the post-fight analysis community. Joe Rogan, who brings a unique combination of technical knowledge and fighter psychology to his breakdowns, had predicted before the fight that this would be a war of attrition, with Holloway's chin and engine being the determining factors. Rogan expressed genuine admiration for what McGregor had built in terms of his game, but kept coming back to Holloway's evolution as a complete fighter. He described Holloway as arguably the most dangerous lightweight-adjacent fighter in the sport right now, when accounting for all dimensions of the game: striking intelligence, footwork, chin, and cardio. Rogan suggested that while McGregor remained elite in terms of threat, Holloway's improvements since their paths last crossed made this a genuinely different equation. Rogan's framing of it as a war proved accurate, and his emphasis on Holloway's complete skill set as the central variable was one of the more insightful pre-fight takes. Michael Bisping, the former middleweight champion and someone who has never been afraid to say exactly what he thinks, leaned toward McGregor in his prediction, but with significant caveats. Bisping argued that McGregor's experience in massive fight moments, his ability to perform under the kind of pressure that breaks lesser fighters, and the sheer psychological weight his reputation carries into the octagon were undervalued factors. He acknowledged Holloway's brilliance, but suggested that the occasion itself, UFC 329, a blockbuster pay-per-view with the kind of energy that only surrounds McGregor events, would suit the Irishman more than the Hawaiian. Bisping's take was interesting because it was less about technique and more about mentality. Whether that mental edge played out the way Bisping envisioned is part of what made the post-fight conversation so rich. Luke Thomas, who approaches MMA with an almost academic level of tactical detail, offered one of the most most nuanced predictions of the entire pre-fight cycle. Thomas broke down the stylistic matchup in layers, addressing range management, punch selection, Holloway's use of his jab as a range-finding tool, and McGregor's tendency to load up on singular power shots rather than combinations in his most recent performances. Thomas concluded that Holloway's ability to set traps with volume and force McGregor into uncomfortable exchanges would be the central theme of the contest. He stopped short of calling a definitive winner, but leaned Holloway on points if the fight reached the championship rounds. The detail of Thomas's breakdown held up well in hindsight, particularly his observations about how range management between these two specific fighters would unfold in real time. Brendan Schaub, who often generates as much debate about his analytical credibility as he does about the fighters themselves, came out with a strong McGregor call. Schaub argued that people had forgotten how dangerous McGregor is, and that the hunger alone, the sheer desire to reclaim a legacy, would push McGregor to a performance that silenced every critic. He framed it in terms of narrative, describing McGregor as someone who feeds on the weight of a moment. Schaub predicted McGregor by knockout and was unambiguous about it. His prediction sat at one end of the spectrum and reflected a genuine belief in the McGregor mystique as much as the McGregor skill set. Teddy Atlas, whose insights into boxing carry enormous weight even within MMA circles, given how much of this fight centered on the striking game, made observations that cut right to the heart of the technical matchup. Atlas focused on McGregor's setup patterns, how he creates angles before landing the left hand, and whether Holloway's movement and head positioning would neutralize that threat. Atlas also spoke about emotional investment and how fighters who carry the emotional weight of a comeback can either rise to extraordinary heights or carry too much tension into their performance. He did not pick a winner with the same confidence as some others, but his framing of the psychological dimension of the fight added genuine depth to the pre-fight discourse. What made this entire prediction landscape so compelling is that the fight itself seemed determined to confound every clean, simple narrative that had been attached to it. The MMA community is often criticized for reducing complex matchups to singular variables. One guy has the power, one guy has the engine, one guy has the experience, and this fight exposed just how insufficient those reductions can be when two elite athletes bring everything they have to the biggest stage available to them. Some of the analysts who predicted with the most confidence ended up being the furthest from what actually happened. Some of the more measured voices who hedged and qualified their picks ended up looking prescient precisely because they respected the unpredictability of the matchup. What also became clear through all of this is that the prediction game, as entertaining and as analytically valuable as it is, ultimately cannot fully account for what happens inside the octagon on a specific night. Variables compound, energy levels fluctuate. A single moment, a slip, a perfectly timed shot, a shift in momentum can redirect the entire trajectory of a fight in ways no breakdown fully anticipates. That is the beauty of this sport, and it is why a card like UFC 329, with a main event like McGregor versus Holloway, generates the kind of passionate debate and deep analysis that fills podcasts, YouTube channels, and barbershop conversations for weeks before and after the event. The analysts and commentators who gave their honest assessments before fight night all contributed something real to the conversation, whether they got it right or wrong. Some leaned on data, some on instinct, some on the psychological profiles of the fighters. Some predicted outcomes, others predicted themes. The best predictions were the ones that gave fans a richer lens through which to watch the fight as it unfolded, and by that measure, the MMA analytical community delivered genuinely thoughtful work ahead of one of the most anticipated rematches in recent memory. The fight is over now, the result is in the books, but the conversation, as always in this sport, is just getting started.